You're listening to Potty Mouth Radio, the home of movies, music, television, and comedy.
And now, the hunt for the perfect album.
Hello, patrons, and welcome back to the hunt for the perfect album with Billy and Dave. How you doing, mate?
I'm good. I'm a little bit nervous.
Good. Yes, we are back to your turn, and you gave me an album so new that you can't even hear it yet. By a woman that you are a patron of, Mary Spender.
I am so fucking in love with Mary Spender, it's ridiculous.
And it's her album Super Sexy Heartbreak.
It is indeed.
Would you like to tell us a little bit about it? You mentioned it last week.
Yeah, so I've been following Mary Spender for several years now. She's a fairly prolific and accomplished YouTube musician who started her own YouTube channel, eventually branched out into Patreon, etc., to kind of get her music out there without the need of studio systems and all of that archaic shit that stops artists actually getting paid for their work. And she's enormously personable. It comes across as just the most wonderful person. And I sort of followed her on YouTube. She's done a number of collaborations with other sort of YouTube situated artists, doing duets and mashups and other various bits and pieces. But one of the things I really liked about her is that she's also, particularly over the last couple of years, started doing videos about how to kind of kick off a music career using things like social media. If you are a musician, you want to get your stuff heard, how to go about it, how to use YouTube. She's very open about how she monetizes herself, where she gets her income from, what comes from Patreon, what comes from YouTube ads, et cetera, et cetera. I genuinely just really like her. And then when she announced that she was working on an album, I sort of was awaiting that. And as soon as it dropped, and as a patron of hers, I got a digital version early. I fucking just loved it.
Yeah.
I was literally, I think I said to you, this hadn't occurred to me as one to do for this series. But then when I realized that I'd listened to it something like 20 times in a week and the kids had been going, put it on again. I thought, well, why not? Yeah. I do not skip any track on this album, so it kind of fits the brief in that sense. And, you know, maybe I can give a plug to an artist out there who could do it. So come on, pull the Band-Aid off.
All right. Look. Okay. Here's the thing. I think one thing that we've discovered through this show, and I think we can agree that the name itself is almost, it's a bit of a joke, because the truth is there is no such thing as the perfect album, and music is so subjective.
Yeah.
And I think this might be the first example we have of an album which I can very much appreciate, but it's just not for me. And I fully respect her, and I think as a songwriter she's great. Here's the thing. Last week when you told me about this album, you mentioned her going quite viral, I think, with it was a John Mayer thing?
There was one thing where Mayer released like 15, 20 seconds or something of his new single, just that little snippet. Yeah. And she just sort of went, oh, okay, well, if I were him, this is the song I'd make.
Yeah.
Put that out there, and he latched onto that and so on.
And I think that was my first red flag, because Mayer is another one who I just don't like. And I appreciate,
really?
Yeah, I appreciate that, like, particularly, you know, as a guitarist myself, I can appreciate that John Mayer can play a guitar.
Oh, yeah, sure.
But I just don't like his songs. It's just not for me. But I do have to say, I think that only applied to the first half of this album. Once you get to the second half, I really, really liked it. I really liked it.
You're a cunt. You're an utter cunt.
But everything I'm saying is true. I never I never loved this album, and I can't say that there's anything that I would, maybe listen to again and again. But I really liked from about track 6 onwards. I got more and more into it. But you come straight into it with track 1. And hang on, it's not on Spotify, so I'm playing it a bit of a dicky way, and I can't see the names of the songs.
Tracks 1 and 2 should be. I think she's releasing 1 track a month, and I think You Can Have Chicago and Getaway Son on Spotify now.
You Can Have Chicago, that's what it's called. It's very slow, but not slow enough for me to be like, this is a nice slow song.
Walked right out of you. I saw the lights on the 3rd floor. Did she love to see me leave? Did you go down easily or crash down like me? You can have Chicago back just for a little while.
And here's the dumb thing about it, right? I can recognize that there's nothing bad about that song. It's very catchy. She has a lovely voice. The instrumentation is good. It just doesn't speak to me, and I can't tell you why. Because let's face it, listening to it just then, that's basically a Belle and Sebastian song, and you know how much I love Belle and Sebastian. But for some reason, it just doesn't land for me.
Interesting.
And I kind of felt that way about the first several tracks. Track 2 was a bit the same.
I could see that about 2 and 3.
Yes.
You Can Have Chicago is my favourite song on the album.
Okay, yeah. The more I listen to it, the more I like it.
2 and 3, I can see they're not the strongest on the album, probably.
Yeah.
No longer in existence. Did they see the thought cross my mind? Can they sense my soul ache? Can they hear my heart race? You will live in me.
Yeah, it's also one of those interesting things where the more I listen to it, the more I like it. Like we were meant to record this episode last week, and the reason we didn't is I said to you, look, I've only listened to it a couple of times. I need to listen to it more.
Oh yeah,
and
straight away I said to Ayla said in the car, "Have you recorded yet?" And I said no, because Billy doesn't like it.
No, it's funny, I kind of still feel like it now. Like listening, even track 3 just then that I just played that little sample of. There's a bit of me going, I actually really dig this song, and I don't know why I think I don't. Like, I think I just need more time to get into it because, like I said, I recognize that she's a good songwriter. She's a very good instrumentalist. Like, she plays, as far as I can tell, as far as I know, she plays a lot of the different instruments on this album, and there's piano, there's guitar, there's bass, and she plays them all.
She did do one just kind of a just for fun funsies YouTube clip where she is the singer, the guitarist, the drummer, and the bass.
Yeah.
But different outfits and different sort of personas in each, and just films herself doing the whole thing and talking to herself. So she can definitely play all of that, but obviously primarily a guitarist.
Yeah, and she's really, really talented, and she has a lovely voice. So it's one of those things where every time I listen to it, I'm like, I can't tell you why I don't like it. Because
why don't I like this?
because a lot of me, like just then when I started playing that song, I didn't want to fade it down. I was getting into it. But when I listened to the album as a whole, the first track that I really feel that way about is track 6.
I remember meeting you there on the steps in my Sunday best. My father's hand on my shoulder. We couldn't talk for much longer. You test my conviction. I crave your attention. Secret meetings, half truths. Stolen kisses, sweet youth. There's a church down the hill from
And again, the inverse, I listen to that and I can't tell you why I like it. I just do. And I feel that way about
it builds
pretty
a
much,
bit. That was the one, I can't remember if I mentioned this before, when I was trying to describe sort of what genre the album was. That was
it varies a lot.
To me, said Tori Amos, but with guitar instead of piano. In particular, tracks like "Past the Mission" off "Under the Pink." That I think did she do that with Trent Reznor or someone?
Yeah.
It's that sort of slightly deeper because her
Yes.
voice in this album goes from fucking
huge
soprano
range.
down to alto.
Huge range.
She's
Yeah.
all over the place. But this was one of those sort of deeper ones, and I got a real Tori Amos vibe off Church Bell.
Yeah. And from that track on, I pretty much like every song. I think it's funny, even when you're still in that more kind of John Mayer singer-songwriter guitar-y style, I think that the second half just works better for me. Like track 7 is another one that I really like.
Side of the bed I use, brand of perfume. You know I talk in my sleep, keep a notebook at my bedside. Did I reveal too many dreams? Now I can see I filled in the time, a plaything to pass a month or two. We've been over for so long, but every morning.
And there's no rhyme or reason to it again. Like, this is why I'm just saying music is so subjective, because, like, there's no reason why I should like that song more than track 1 and 2. But I just do. It just, every time, it just takes me those first 5 songs to really feel into this album, I think.
It's weird. I mean, track 1 and 2, you Can Have Chicago and Getaway, so because I've played them so often because they're the first couple.
Yeah.
They're 2 of my favorites, particularly track 1, which I fucking love.
Yeah.
But 3 and 5, yeah, they're probably 2 of my least favorite, I guess. But
yeah.
I'm surprised track 4 didn't resonate with you, because to me that's one of the most catchy. It's weird that didn't stand out.
While I'm blowing out these candles, then you looked at me till I prayed as the whole room disappears. Deeply tangled inside your web, it's the happiest I'll ever be. Keep me hoping you'll choose me next, but now I guess we'll wait and see. You make me nervous.
You know what I think it is? Just listening to that track, I think I can explain my feelings a little bit better, maybe, hopefully. Because here's the thing. I do think she's a good songwriter. I don't think it's fair for me to say I don't think she's a great lyricist. I think it's more just that I don't even feel like I understand any of the lyrics on this album. And lyrics are such a huge part of this song to me.
I think the main reason I was nervous about this is because the lyrics are fairly simplistic.
Yeah,
they're not basic. They're just simplistic. It's about love and it's about heartbreak. There's no it's a fucking million miles away. But if you listen to like a Bob Dylan song, everything's poetry. Nothing is. Everything is metaphor. Nothing is straightforward. This is all straightforward. It's literally just straight love and heartbreak songs.
Yeah,
what you get is what you get.
I think that's probably a little bit of my problem, is that the majority of the stuff I listen to, I think, is very clever lyrically. And I think that's why it takes me till about track 6 in this album to get into the groove of the music and to just ignore the lyrics altogether, because it's not that I don't think the lyrics are strong. I just think they're not memorable. And maybe, like I said, I feel like I genuinely most of the time can't even understand what she's saying. Like
they're literally saying what it's straightforward. What you see is what you get. It's much more, I don't know, Peter, Paul and Mary, Mamas and Papas, whatever. It's straight love songs. It's not Bob Dylan or Leonard Cohen or something where it's poetic. It's you're reading between the lines, etc. It's all allegorical and metaphorical.
Yeah, true.
And knowing you as I do, that was even before I gave it to you, it was like, oh, is he going to think this is really simplistic and basic?
Yeah.
Salt tastes comforting now. Like I've been here before. My cries become so loud. How did I find the time to love?
I think that's the thing, yeah. And once I get into the music of it, I do find myself really enjoying it. Like I said, even I said before we started recording that I didn't like the songs until maybe track 6. Then I played track 1 and 2 just then while we were listening to them. And like I said, I didn't want to fade them down. I actually found them really catchy and enjoyable.
Musically, they're very catchy.
I think it's a bit of a me thing, and I think that I need to ease myself in more. I think that the more I listen to this album, the more I'll enjoy it. I will say too that I think once it's actually released and it's a bit easier to listen to, I think that I will enjoy it more. The way that I've had to play it at the moment, because you sent me the files, like once it's playing, I can't see the name of the track and stuff like that. So it's a little bit hard to keep my bearings on things. But yeah, I'm going to keep listening. Like once it's released, I'm going to add the album on my Spotify because there's nothing that I didn't like here. I just never found myself loving anything.
I heard she's moving to LA. And there's nothing that you can do to make her stay. Lost one to the West Coast, one to the UK. You already ran from New York City. Did the lake help you escape? It's a good thing you went back. Are you happy that I'm sad? Do you know we never ran our course?
That right there is my favorite song of the album.
Yep.
Just getting to it. Yeah. I think that the last 3 tracks actually are probably my favorite. They were the 3 that the album kept building and building for me. And every time that I got to the next track, I was like, oh no, this is my favorite track. And stylistically, they're all quite different. But I do think that, in fact, the entire album stylistically is quite diverse.
There's a lot of variation,
really.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I think with the exception of You Can Have Chicago and track 4, Do You Want to Play, I think the last 3 tracks are probably my favorite.
Yeah.
On the album.
Said you'd leave your lights on for me. I held a flame, then you blew it all away. I know it's better that we leave everything.
In fact, yeah, before I'm going to have to listen to it at least once or twice more before I get back to you on what the track for the playlist is, because it's growing on me every time I listen to it. And yeah, I think that it's probably between the last 3 tracks at the moment, but that could easily change on future re-listens. Like I said, I think that this is truly one of those albums where I have to say, it's not you, it's me. I mean that genuinely, because like I said, much like the same way I feel about John Mayer, I can recognize that the songwriting is really, really strong, and I can recognize that she knows what she's doing. And that's why I think I haven't yet, but I plan on checking out her YouTube channel because sounds really interesting, and she sounds like a very interesting person and artist to me. And just because on the first couple of listens the album didn't resonate with me, that doesn't mean that I'm not interested in hearing more, because I genuinely am. I think that you can feel that even just from the album and the production of the album and even the lyrics, even though I don't think they're super strong. I think you do get a good sense of who she is as a person, and that stuff helps. Like, that's a lot of the reason I love Charlie Bliss, is because I think you can feel a lot of who Eva is through her songwriting. And I genuinely feel you can get the same sense here about Mary Splendor. So I'm going to keep listening 100%.
That's couldn't ask for more than that. The playlist, take your time, no rush. At the moment, the only things on Spotify are tracks 1 and 2. She's releasing one a month. So,
Yeah.
Because as many people probably know, if you're actually wanting to make money from your music, don't put it on fucking Spotify. You'll make 0.00001 cent per play or whatever it is.
Yep.
So at the moment, the only things we can put on the playlist are tracks 1 and 2. So you've got time. You take your time. You marinate. And
I will keep listening. But just on first listen, I'm giving this album a 7 out of 10.
Oh, cool.
Which I know that probably sounds higher than you thought I was going to give it. But again, there's nothing that I didn't like. It's more just that I would say it didn't resonate with me. But that doesn't mean that I think it's a really good album, and I am going to keep listening for sure.
Oh, good. Can't be happy. Can't be unhappy about that. Excellent.
All right. I'm nervous about next week though, because I'm going to give you. I know that you are a Lucksmiths fan.
Lucksmiths are great.
I'm going to give you an album by 3/4 of the Lucksmiths. It is Melbourne band Last Leaves with their debut album.
It's like 3/4 without the front man, though, isn't it?
That's right. Tali, the frontman, is not there, but Tali's not the songwriter. Tali's the singer and the drummer. But Marty McDonald is the lead songwriter of the Lucksmiths. And
the sound of the band, though. We'll see how we go.
I'm really curious to hear what you think of this one. So we'll get to that next week. But yes, I'm curious. Hopefully you enjoy it.
I am keen. I do like the Lucksmiths.
Well, thank you, patrons, for joining us once again on the hunt for the perfect album. I've been Billy.
I've been Dave.
We don't usually do that. I don't know why I did. I just
threw me under the bus.
Thought it was fun.
Go check out Mary Spender on YouTube because she's fucking wonderful.
I know you're peaceful, best friends with yourself. I see the changes. New books on your shelf. I couldn't get there, trapped in my head, living but not alive. That old me is dead.